Today I will talk about women's roles and how they were affected by advertisement in the 1930s and 40s. They were affected a lot because of the certain situations that were going on during that time, and I will explain why and how. Advertisement in the 1930s. Many advertisements in the 1930s included images like this in the newspaper typically, and they were just portraying women. Mostly, the women that were portrayed doing housework, uh, like housemaid work, taking care of the children, taking care of the clothes, watching the kitchen, and just doing typical stuff that house made a housemaid would do, and that's what we saw. There was not much advertisement going on during this time because of the economic stress that was going on, and so we there was not much going around. But for the few that was going around, we saw certain images like this. These advertisements affected the women because it reinforced the idea that they only belonged in houses and only could do certain roles in the house. And this was a setback because in the previous decade, there was a lot of movements of women that were striving to change that norm and striving to expand the roles of women, trying to expand their certain freedoms. And when the Great Depression hit, it just made it hard for women to go out because it the most of the men were out scrapping and finding jobs or finding whatever they could to sustain their families, and it just reinforced the idea that women belonged in the house and they had no choice and they had to stay in the house and take care of the family and take care of the house while the men were out searching for whatever they could find. When the World War II occurred, many advertisements began to boom because the United States was looking to unify the American people before they go into war. And they were trying to gather around the men to go into the army, and most importantly, the women that would take over the jobs while the men would go to war. And this was a very crucial point for women because they were given the opportunity to step up into different positions, different roles, and different situations, and it was a very, very key time for the women in the United States. Women were beginning to being portrayed as hard workers, and during the war they successfully sustained the economy, and as these jobs grew for these women, they did well. The economy started booming again, and when the war was over, the all the men came home and the woman did a fantastic job. And so the roles were beginning to shift, and the women in the United States proved that they were capable of doing these jobs and these roles, and that they were not only capable of taking care of the house, but they were capable of expanding their roles, expanding their abilities. And this was a very crucial point for them too, because it proved that they were much more than what uh, America put them in the box in this certain role. So, in conclusion, advertisement is just very important and powerful, and the way it changed the women's roles in America. It influenced the ideas and it helped spread the ideas of what the roles of women should be in America. And without it, it would have been very difficult to influence and change minds. And it was very, very good for women in certain situations, but it was also a negative thing. But advertising during this time, it helped them change the roles, and that was their evolution during the 1930s to the 1940s.